the name Yeshua especially was unique because not only did it leave out the name Yahweh, the three letters that is usually there, I wanted to provide some additional information about the questions that some of you have asked regarding the Hebrew letters that constitutes the Messiah's name. The common form for the Messiah's name is this short form here. Again, this is usually found with this vowel here, indicating the noun salvation. So remember, this form is never found before the 4th century in archaeology. Okay? And this form is usually found without indication of the vowel here, as you know, because the ancient forms, the older forms, have less use of matris lectionis, indicating the U. So the question at hand is, the Messiah, when he came to this earth, which form of the name would he have possessed? And make no mistake about it, most of the Judeans at the time used this form to represent their name. So most people will wonder, well, the Messiah at the time, there were no Judeans with this form of the name expressed in the long form, so this should not have been used to reflect the Messiah's name. And let me explain to you why the Messiah's name was unique and why this would have been the only form of the Messiah's name. The main reason for it is the fact of this over here. As I showed in the previous video, these names are what you call, some scholars call them Yahwistic names. I call them personal names compounded with the sacred name. Okay, and because these names have two forms, they have the what scholars call the theophoric, or the name of the Almighty at the beginning of it, followed by the predicative element that is expressing some statement about the Almighty. Okay, in this case, as I explained before, this basically means Yahweh is salvation. Okay, in the late forms of this name, such as into the Greek period, there was a transformation of these type of names. And so this three letters, the Yod He Waw, was no longer reflected as usually seen. And this is evident in the Greek transcriptions of these names. Okay? The name Yeshua especially was unique because not only did it leave out the name Yahweh, the three letters that is usually there, but it reflected just the Yod only, whereas other names, in addition to the Yod, had this, a war. And this is actually how it's spelled in English. But of course, that doesn't reflect anything in archaeology because there are no forms in all of the archaeological findings. There are no forms reflecting this name. You only see two kinds. You see either the long form, this, or the very short form, this one. So the next question is, well, if the Messiah was born in a Jewish context in the last of the before Common Era time period, then he would have had a name that every other Jew had. And that would have been correct, except for one very, very important reason. And that is because of the scriptures. You see, we are told, if you go to the book of Luke, that the angel Gabriel was specifically sent to Miriam, and the name was specifically given to the child. And this name was given as one of these compound names. Remember, the only reason we have these names is because of a tradition. But just understand that whenever you see this, a yod, you do not see the first three letters, which is the usual way that this name is abbreviated whenever it's compounded into other personal names. Whenever you see this, you know that that is not original, and that is a result of modifications made by elites in Judean societies, beginning at about the 4th century or so. At least these short forms, very short forms, began at about the 4th century or so. There were additional modifications earlier, but I'm not talking about that right now because I'm not going to confuse you because it's not relevant with these type of names. So because the angel Gabriel specified the name to Maryam, then we know that the name that was given was the long name that didn't hide the name Yahweh, didn't remove the name Yahweh or modified the short and abbreviated form of the name Yahweh, but kept it as it was found in the book of Numbers or Deuteronomy and the Torah. And so the Messiah's name had the name of Yahweh in it. Other Judeans, following usual Jewish traditions, maintained this form of the name.